Do you question whether the program's worth the cost? In money and in lives?
We got a fire!
6, 5.
What are the chances of not coming back?
It's always tricky. I mean, I guess as a visual effects artist, you want your work to be seen, but for something like this, where it's documentary style, it really needs to fit with how the rest of the footage is shot. Paul Lambert, so I worked with him on Blade Runner. He was invited down to meet with Damien Chazelle to talk over the show First Man. And once they decided on trying to keep things in camera, Paul brought me on board to try and work out what's the best way of trying to do this. And Paul came up with the idea of having a giant LED screen. So I had to try and work out the technological ins and outs of that and what could we deliver in time for the shoot. We'd get the footage ready, let's say for the X-15 sequence. Get that footage running well. Damien wanted it to run as a full sequence, so it was something like 10,000 frames. Rendering that out, putting it into the QuickTime format they needed for the screen, uploading it to Atlanta, where they were based. And we ended up using TerraGen for the X-15 cloud sequence. I guess it simulates how light reacts in an Earth environment. So we used it for the high altitude shots of the clouds. And then so when you're up in the top section of the atmosphere, just as Neil bounces off the atmosphere, you get that nice blue line of the horizon, which is mathematically correct for the Earth's atmosphere. So it was fantastic for us to be able to use that because we had the real world numbers of his flight path and how high he went. So when you're looking through it, that's probably pretty close to what he saw when he was up there.
We have serious problems.
The special effects guys, JD Schwam and his team, they had the gimbal motion base, and they worked out a way to get so when the gimbal tilted forward, you'd have the correct movement on the screen as well. It was almost, for certain scenes, it was almost like they were in a simulator. So the actors got something to work with as well. Rather than having a green screen, I suppose, and saying, right, you're diving down towards the Earth now, give us a reaction. He's actually there, he's in it, and it's tilting forward, and when you're sat there, it actually feels like you're in the plane going down. Damien definitely gets everything he needs in camera, and when he's filming it, he can see what the end result's going to be. You also get the sort of lighting from the screen and the reflections from the screen directly onto surfaces that we'd normally remove, like windows, glass, visors. We'd normally take those off, and then we'd have the painstaking job of trying to get that to match the footage. Whereas you kind of almost get it for free on the LED. And also then after the shooting's finished, Damien can start cutting pretty much straight away because he's already got the footage from the shoot. There's no green screen that we had to remove and then get to him for temp screenings. So NASA gave us access to a lot of archival footage from the Apollo program. So we're going to scour through most of that. There were a couple of things in there which I don't think have been seen before. There's one in particular which is a sort of a mid-shot of the Saturn V rocket. It's got the blast off. It's obviously shot a square aspect ratio. Then we had to expand the sides left and right with a rocket thrust, which was quite interesting. It actually came together pretty quickly once we had the simulation working right, and then we just had to match the lighting and the look to the main footage. So the main footage in the middle stayed as it was. We ran it through our archival processing setup, and then blended it with the CG at the edges. That shot was a great shot to work on and see come together.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.